G'day chaps, 'tis I, Clownpuncher139, and thank you all so much for 10,000 subscribers. I honestly did not think I would see this number this soon. Only a couple of months ago, I was celebrating a mere 500 subscribers, and look at me now, less than a year later. Thank you all so much for your incredible support to my channel. And as a way to kind of celebrate, I just decided to do a little Q&A. I threw up a community post earlier in the week, a lot of you guys answered with some questions, and here we are now. Me sitting in my closet, completely no script, just kind of rolling with it. I don't have too much else to say on the matter, so let's go ahead and get to some of your guys' questions. And again, there are a lot of them for some reason. And may as well start off with one of the most common questions that I got. My favorite and least favorite game in the saga. And honestly, I never know at this point. My opinion on the matter just keeps swapping between the games pretty much constantly, especially with every challenge that I do. At the time of this recording, my current list is Arkham City, Arkham Origins, Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum. But that is very subject to change. Just about anything could influence this list going forward. A bad or a good challenge, some kind of epiphany on the game, or just my opinions changing. I really don't know at this point. I love all these games in their own way, so it's really hard for me to just put them in a list. At some point in the future, I am going to do a ranking video where I go through each game's ups and downs and just try to decide which is logically my favorite instead of just pure opinion. But that is going to be a long time down the road, so don't get your hopes up for a while. If you can make an Arkham-like game or Arkham sequel, what character would be the focus? As much as everyone craps on him, I really think Robin could have an interesting game. Like, as Batman's sidekick, it makes sense that he would have some interesting things potentially behind the scenes or even just in tandem with Batman. Anything could work, honestly. I mean, we've had 2 DLCs featuring him, Harley Quinn's Revenge and that flip of a coin one from Knight, so why not just put him in his own game? What is the worst boss fight in all the Arkham games? Check out my ranking video for a more in-depth reasoning, but Deadshot from Arkham City. Favorite poncho in Jedi Fallen Order? No poncho, honestly. I'm pretty sure at least I played the entire game completely poncho-less, so yeah, there's my answer. 2 questions. 1. The origin of my name. Well, back in 2011, I think, is when I first got the game. I played Arkham Asylum, absolutely loved it, and years down the road, I got my first Xbox Live account, which I decided to name Clownpuncher139 just because that's what Batman did a lot of, punching clowns. And I've just kind of stuck with it ever since. For a point in time, I was kind of embarrassed by it, but I've just kind of embraced it now. It's me. And number 2, who would you make the main villain in a new Arkham game? Honestly, just about anybody could have a really interesting arc in an Arkham-like game. But really just because of how dirty he was done in Knight, I'd want to see Scarecrow again. There's so much potential with him, as we can see in things like Batman Begins, that it really shouldn't be that hard to give him a really cool game on his own without the Joker or Knight. What would I have done if I hadn't started my channel? Well, I'd be working a pretty crappy part-time job probably to help pay for college, and otherwise I'd probably be about where I am now, just kind of going through the motions at school, trying to get by on the day-to-day. If I could remove anything from all Batman Arkham games, what would they be? I really wouldn't remove anything. Honestly, like, imagining these games without certain aspects just doesn't make any sense. Do you think you would ever branch out to different superhero games like the Spider-Man games? Well, I have played at least a few other superhero games, but if you had seen my post from about a month ago, you would know that I cannot play the Spider-Man games at the moment because I do not have a PlayStation. Have I seen the new Suicide Squad? Assuming you're talking about the one made by James Gunn, yes, I saw it actually just recently as of recording, and it was absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend. Would you be interested in a DLC where Joker takes over Batman's mind during Arkham Knight? If that means we get more of the incredible hallucination sequence from the end of Knight, absolutely. It was incredibly fun, even just, not even gameplay-wise, just story-wise, getting to be Joker and just rampage through everybody who's just giving you a hard time throughout the game. And plus, it would just give some really great story beats where we just see Batman lose control again. It would be incredibly awesome. If you could replace one of the voice actors in the Arkham games, whose voice actor would you replace, and who would you replace them with? Honestly, nobody. Like, everybody just does such a good job portraying these characters that I couldn't imagine them being voiced by anybody else. Now, I mean, sure, in like Arkham Origins, they replaced Joker and Batman, but even still, they did such a great job emulating the characters that I couldn't have imagined them being anybody else at that point. I guess one that I could point out is Gordon in Asylum and City, because honestly, he just did not feel like Gordon in those games. Really, he wasn't himself until Origins and Knight. What is my most favorite challenge that I've done? It's probably a toss-up between City without quickfire gadgets and City minimum grapples, because both of those just required a bunch of ingenuity and creative thinking to figure out, and as a whole, they were just so much fun. Doing all the challenge maps without grappling was a ton of fun as well, especially Origins and City. What is my favorite color, and your thoughts about Sonic now? Well, my favorite color is red, and thoughts on Sonic is a little bit random if I'm being honest, but I mean, I think they're doing pretty good, I'd say. I mean, I don't pay too much attention if I'm being honest. I really liked the movie in 2020, and I'm really excited for the sequel. But there's not much else to say. I haven't played a ton of the games. I recently started playing Sonic Mania, which is pretty great. But aside from that, not too much. If I had one member of the Justice League make a cameo, who would it be? I don't think anybody would really make sense, because all of them are just so much more powerful than Batman that if they showed up, it would kind of break the story. Like, the point of these games is that it's just Batman basically against the world. So having some superhuman show up to not do anything to help just wouldn't really make sense. Do you think Arkham Knight was a good ending to the Arkham series? Do you think they could have done it better by having an additional game prior to the one that would have ended the series? As a finale, Arkham Knight is fantastic. As a game on its own, I'm still mixed, honestly. I loved it when I first played it, because at that point I wasn't doing crazy challenges like this. But now I've just come to be a bit more bitter towards it, since I've just kind of been looking more in depth with games. Like, as the finale to the series, story-wise, it is honestly perfect. The Nightfall ending in particular, like, it is just brilliant. What is your favorite game of all time? Another very common question that I got. And I mean, any of you who watch the channel know that my favorite game is Arkham City, but going away from that, because a couple people did ask for my favorite game outside of Arkham, and it's a really tough decision. As a whole, one series that has never let me down is the Mario series. I've played it since I was about 6 years old, and I have loved basically every single game that I've had the pleasure of playing. And I mean, my favorite from that is Super Mario Odyssey. Like, outside of that, I've got Sunset Overdrive, Doom Eternal, Watch Dogs, Black Ops 2, Lego Star Wars. There's so many other incredible games that I've played that making a new ranking list nowadays just wouldn't even be possible. If you can add any character in any Arkham game that is already not in any of the games, who would it be? For example, Man-Bat in Arkham Knight. Well, I kinda touched on this in the Arkham Iceberg, but I would have loved to see Prometheus after learning about him. He's basically an anti-Batman who matches him in skill along the lines of Deathstroke. That would honestly be awesome to see in one of these games. What do you want to see in the next Batman game, whether it's Arkham or standalone? Gadgets, gameplay, villains, open world, Batcave? That's a lot to take in if I'm being honest. I'd almost want something kind of back to basics like Asylum, but with the mechanics of Arkham Knight. As we've kind of been spoiled with these last couple of games with their incredibly grand scale. I think we kind of need to just bring it back to a simpler time at times. Favorite movie? At the moment, Avengers Endgame. Kind of a spoiler for later on in the video, but I am absolutely in love with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've watched it since I was 8 years old, and Avengers Endgame was the perfect finale to a series that had been with me for that long. I went and saw it with my dad, and honestly cried at the ending. It was beautiful. Why do you do all the challenges? Do you enjoy pain, or are you very determined to make good content? Well, the latter. I could just fill this channel with Let's Plays where I just kind of run through the game, occasionally making commentary, or just really bad shitposts, but I don't want to do that. I've seen what people can do on YouTube, both good and bad, and I don't want to just waste people's time with really crappy content. I saw how bad some of my older videos were, and that's why I unlisted them, because I don't want people thinking that's something that I do nowadays. You can still watch them, I didn't just private them for no reason, but I don't want them to be the first thing people see when they go to my older videos. And plus, these challenges are just fun. I get to play games in unique ways that I would never think of otherwise. Do you think Batman actually died, or if he faked his death? He almost certainly faked his death. The main reason is just that there's Alfred in the manor with him when the explosion goes off. Like, they almost certainly hid in the Batcave and then just kind of went into hiding for the rest of their lives. What's your favorite cutscene? Joker's death by a long shot. I would want to give it a One Amazing Scene video, but I mean, it's been talked about to death that it just wouldn't be worthwhile. It really is just an amazing piece of cinema, if I'm being honest. Would you like to see a Red Hood or Jason Todd game? Abso-friggin-lutely. I obviously haven't played the Red Hood DLC for Knight, but honestly, his gameplay as a whole looks incredibly fun. And the possibilities for like the moral quandaries that they could pose with Jason killing while he's taught not to from a young age would just be like an incredible narrative experience that you wouldn't be able to get in most other games. What is the hardest game you've ever played, and what is the easiest game you've ever played? I don't really remember games for their difficulty, if I'm being honest. I guess for hardest, I would probably say Doom Eternal, just because I haven't played other crazy games like Dark Souls and the like. And I mean, I'm really not good at first-person shooters, and I wasn't playing on a PC, so yeah, that game wasn't exactly easy to get through, but it was incredibly fun. What is your favorite DC movie? Joker by a long shot. Sure is probably the obvious answer, but I really don't care. It honestly blew me away the first and second time that I saw it. And it's gonna be hard to top that, but with the Batman coming out, it might just do that. What motivates you most? Getting a little bit deep there, aren't we? Honestly, just the fact that I'm actually doing something successfully. Like, for quite a few years now, I've just been feeling like I haven't really been going anywhere, with school especially. But now with this, actually having the feeling of success and feeling like I'm contributing something to at least some people, it feels really good. Like, seeing this channel grow so much in less than a year just keeps me going with it. Like, if I hadn't reached that 500 subscriber milestone, I would not have done nearly half of the videos that I've done in this past couple months. You certainly wouldn't be seeing that iceberg, or heck, even this video for that matter. What are your future plans for Arkham vids / challenges on your channel? Honestly, I'm kind of just going with it at the moment. Like, with school still going on, and me definitely not wanting to drop out, I kind of just have to play it by ear of what I can and can't record. I definitely want to branch out from Arkham challenges more like I did with the Watch Dogs video, because I don't want to be just Arkham in the future. At the moment though, I'm kind of just focusing on this video and then one more for Christmas time, because right now it's finals and they're about to be kicking my ass. Have you ever played Origins Blackgate? Not yet, but I do plan to because quite a few people on the Iceberg video mentioned that you can get it through Xbox Live Arcade. So I'm gonna try and do that and maybe make a video about it in the future. I don't really know yet. What would you say to someone who enjoys Origins more than City? Good on ya. I'm pretty close to joining you in that opinion if I'm being honest. Who is your favorite playable character besides Batman? Probably Robin? I don't really do many challenge maps, let alone as other characters, so this isn't really too easy to say, but I mean, I love Harley Quinn's Revenge a lot, mostly because you got to play as Robin, so I guess that's my answer. What is your favorite suit? Honestly, I do not care about suits. I mean, you'll notice during all of my videos that I never once use an alternate costume for Batman. And that's just because I don't care about cosmetics. I mean, yeah, stuff like the Batman Beyond suit look really cool, but I just don't really care to use them. The base suit looks fine enough. Plus, I would just have to back out and manually change the suit every time if I wanted to do it. It's just kind of pointless to me. How did you get into the Arkham games? So back on Christmas of 2011, I believe, I first got my Xbox 360 and with it, Batman Arkham Asylum. Completely by chance, I had no idea that this game ever existed, and I just so happened to get it for my grandma for that Christmas. So I kind of just played it, fell in love with it, and sometime down the line found out that Arkham City existed. Later down, found out Arkham Origins was being made, and then kind of paid attention that Arkham Knight was being made. Honestly, like, if not for that one Christmas and pure coincidence from my grandma, I would never know that this series existed, or even probably be where I am now. When will you start making better thumbnails? When I can actually afford to pay someone to do it. If you could change anything from any of the Arkham games, what would it be? Giving Origins the time that it needed. Like, probably my biggest complaint nowadays with Origins is just that it's glitchy. And honestly, if it was given like even just one extra month, it probably would have been nearly flawless. Have you played Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions? If so, what did you think of it? Unfortunately, I have not. I remember hearing about it some time ago. I think hearing that it was good, but I can't be certain. Sorry. Opinions on Clayface. I think he's a pretty cool villain, and I think they could do a lot more with him if they didn't quote-unquote kill him off in City. Do you think you'll ever run out of Arkham content to make? If so, would you plan on doing next? Oh, abso-friggin-lutely I will run out of Arkham content. I mean, I've been milking this thing dry for the past 5 months, and honestly, I'm kind of running low on actually interesting challenges to do. So, I mean, at that point, I just plan on not really doing challenges and just kind of focusing more on the story aspects like I've kind of been doing recently with One Amazing Scene. And if you guys still want challenges, I'll absolutely do challenges in other games. Like I said, I'm kind of trying to do that now. Favorite glitch you've found in your playthroughs of the Arkham series? By far, the electrified dance glitch. Here's a link to see it yourself. It is so funny. How long did it take you to write the script for the Arkham Iceberg video? Way too friggin' long. I started that script about mid-July, maybe? And at some point, I just kind of stopped writing for it and just put it off for a later date. But back about a month ago, the creator of that iceberg, Orange Brought, reached out to me saying that he would be able to help me finish it. So he did, and after probably about a week or two later, I finished that script. Again, over 50 pages in a college essay format. If we ever got some kind of Arkham game, totally hypothetical, out of these villains, who would you choose? Hush, Riddler, Anarchy, Deadshot, or Firefly? Probably Hush or Anarchy. Both of them have really interesting stories in City and Origins, and honestly, they could stretch out for an entire game, like especially Hush. What are your favorite Predator and Combat soundtracks? Well, by far my favorite piece of music from the Arkham games in general is I Think You Should Do What He Says. playing right now. And as far as combat, I don't really know. I mean, if we're including boss soundtracks, then by far Bane from Arkham Origins, because that piece absolutely slaps. Which Arkham gadget would you like to have in real life? Definitely the Bat Claw. I would be incredibly lazy with that, and I would absolutely love it. Do you like potatoes? Only when they're fried. Favorite Batman media besides Arkham? Either Lego Batman or The Dark Knight, both of which are absolutely fantastic and I highly recommend. Thoughts on Gotham? I absolutely love it. I watched it only about a year ago and it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, the comparison that I often make was it's basically Arkham the show. And honestly, I think that still kind of reigns true. Definitely recommend watching it if you haven't already. Why don't I play Return to Arkham? Well, the biggest reason is that I don't want to buy the same game again. I already had to buy Arkham City again some time ago because my original copy basically got destroyed, so I don't want to buy it for a third time, especially considering the fact that it really doesn't look better. A lot of people think it does, but I mean, in my honest opinion, it looks worse than the original game. The original game was dark and gritty. It made it a lot more interesting to me. This one just seems way too bright and oversaturated. If you like it, by all means, go ahead and play it. But I just don't want to buy the same game again, especially when my Xbox 360 is still working perfectly fine nowadays. What villain would you have wanted to see in the Arkham games that has no appearance or reference in any game? Now that I don't really know because I don't know too many villains that haven't been mentioned in the Arkham games. Chances are, if you can think of a Batman villain, they are in some way represented in the Arkham games, for reference or actually just being there. So I don't really think I can answer this. If you can make one character from the entire Arkham series be deleted from the entire series, which character and why? None of them. I know I always crap on Riddler when I'm doing challenges and such, but I mean, I love him. He's great. Like, no character just deserves to be gone because then the game would just be too different without them. Do you think Arkham Knight Deathstroke was a waste of talent? Yes. Moving on. Did you ever make it to Croc in Night in the Iceberg Lounge? I did not buy that challenge map, so unfortunately I have never been able to even see Croc in the lounge. What is my favorite jump scare? Either Man-Bat or Tiny. Both of them definitely got me the first time I played, and I mean, probably Man-Bat because Tiny I know exactly when he's going to pop up. I never know when Man-Bat's going to pop up. What is your favorite villain who has the worst boss fight? Deathstroke by far. What do you think Calendar Man did after Night? He probably kidnapped somebody from the crowd and killed them knowing that Batman is now gone to stop him. What's your major? Well, for my university, I am studying literally games. That is going to be on my diploma when I graduate, hopefully. Also, how do you come up with these insane challenges and manage to make it work almost all the time? Honestly, they're not that insane if I'm being truthful, but I generally come up with them by just taking a fundamental part of these games and thinking, could I do it without that? That's pretty much all that you need to do a challenge for a game. Take something that you know is fundamental to either like the character or just the gameplay in general, and think of what you could do if it was gone. And for Batman, generally that includes gliding, grappling, gadgets. If you take these away, then can you still beat the game? What is your favorite Arkham theory? Aside from my own bad blood, of course, I would probably say Harley Quinn being pregnant. I didn't go into a ton of detail in the Arkham Iceberg just because I didn't really have all the details when I was writing it. But honestly, there's a lot of evidence that she could have actually been pregnant with Joker's child, and a lot of the comments really let me know about that. Who is your favorite YouTuber? Ooh, I've got quite a few subs that I really love watching, and I'll probably just have to list a few out because honestly, I can't say just a definitive favorite. Dead Meat, Waffles Minion, Bread Boys, Game Champ. They're all so great. They just create quality content on this platform. Who is your favorite voice actor? Mine is Troy Baker. Well, Troy Baker is definitely not a bad choice, but I mean, as cliche as it would probably sound, I gotta give it to my man Mark Hamill. Even outside of Arkham, he does a lot of great work. One of my favorite shows is Regular Show, and for years I didn't know that he played Skips. And now that I know that, it just makes the show 20 times better. Do you like comics or interested in any other superheroes other than Batman? Unfortunately, I am not a big comic nerd. At this point, I'd say I'm a little bit too late to the game to get into the comics. But like I said a bit earlier, I absolutely love the MCU. At least I did before Endgame. And my favorite superhero from that, probably either Spider-Man or Iron Man. It's really tough to tell because they're both fantastic. Is Batman really Bruce Wayne? No, he's Barack Obama. What are your thoughts on Gotham Knights? I am incredibly excited for it. Obviously, it's not really Arkham, but it's got the same feel, it's got great characters, and from that story trailer, it looks really dark and awesome, so I really couldn't be more excited for it. Have you seen the Arkham Asylum co-op mods? I've seen a little bit of it, but not really enough to make any kind of definitive assumptions or reviews of it. And I definitely can't play it because, again, Xbox 360. What game had the most impact on you and why? Obviously depends really on how you define impact. If we're talking, I guess, financial impact, look no further than Arkham City. That game has pretty much defined this channel, and I couldn't be more happy with it. But if you're talking, emotional impact, probably Undertale. I made a video on that sometime back. It is also terrible, do not watch it. But I still absolutely adore that game, despite the incredibly toxic fan base. If you haven't played it, do it. It is honestly fantastic and well worth your time. What was scarier, the Man-Bat jump scare or the game crash in Asylum? Man-Bat by far. Part of the reason is because I had no idea what the game crash meant because I was only about 10 years old when I first played Asylum. So, pretty stupid kid back then. What's your favorite and least favorite DLC you've played in the Arkham series? Favorite is by far Cold Cold Heart. It is still amazing to this day. And least favorite, I don't really have because I haven't bought all the Night DLC. Are you ever going to get the Night DLC? I really don't plan on it. I've seen walkthroughs for basically everything that Night has to offer, and at this point, it's just not worth my time. If I could somehow get them for free, I would definitely do that, but honestly, it's not worth however much money it's going to be to put into it. Because I'm not really going to get much content out of them, and I'm not going to get much enjoyment out of them because I know what happens. Sure, it would be interesting to play as these characters, especially Matter of Family, but none of them are going to really provide anything that I don't expect. Who is your favorite superhero? That's probably too obvious, so I'll ask you this instead. Who is your favorite superheroes from DC, Marvel, or other? Well, from DC, it is still Batman. From Marvel, like I said, probably Iron Man or Spider-Man, but it is still hard to tell. Although big shoutouts to Deadpool, even though he is an anti-hero. And other... The Incredibles. Outside of GTA 5, what is your favorite game out of the entire GTA series? I've only played GTA 5, unfortunately, so can't really answer that with something genuine. Do you love Spider-Man? I do indeed. I am very much excited for No Way Home, and I absolutely adore Spider-Verse. And a bit of a common question, how old are you? As of recording this, I am 21 years of age. Why don't you actually read the Batman comics so then when you can actually talk about these games you have a bit more knowledge to work with whenever you're explaining why something is so good or bad for the matter, than when you start to criticize or compliment don't really seem to know exactly what you're talking about. Punctuation, man! Good lord, I don't even know what that's asking because there's no punctuation. Next. Thoughts on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Just like with Gotham Knights, I am super excited for it. I don't even care that it's not going to be an Arkham-related game. It's by Rocksteady, so my hopes are incredibly high. And speaking of, in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, would you prefer we actually kill the Justice League or find a way to free them so we can have a game set in the Arkham universe about them? I think it would actually be really cool if we did actually kill them. It would be incredibly dark and perfectly in tone for the game that they're going for. And, I mean, if we want more Arkham-like games with these characters, then they can just have prequels. What challenge map from the series caused you the most trouble in completing it? I mean, if we're talking about just my first time playing through these maps, then it's by far the final Asylum map, whose name is completely escaping me at the moment. But that just incredibly tight area with nowhere to grapple just kind of broke the game for me. It took me so long to beat. But if we're talking about during challenges, then Top of the World Extreme will forever live rent-free in my mind as one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. How is school going? Well, despite being a university, it's still school. I'm going there to do work that I don't really feel helps me in any way, going home to do more work that doesn't help in any way, taking tests that I hopefully pass, and just hoping that I graduate on time. It's certainly more fun than high school, but that's a pretty low bar to clear if I'm being honest. What do you think about the way the Arkham series treated Two-Face? I think they did really well. I mean, obviously he didn't have that much screen time in Arkham City, but I mean, Arkham Knight, they really handled his character well. Like, his final speech to Batman during the drive to the GCPD was honestly pretty emotional. And I mean, they could definitely do more with him later down the line if they wanted to. Can you make a Call of Duty tier list? I have only played Black Ops 2 that I've thought is good, so no. This is a really common question, but I hope you answer. Do you agree that moose are the best specimen on the planet and deserve the entire galaxy? Yes. Best Robin, worst Robin, and why? Best Robin, Arkham Robin. Worst Robin, Robert. No explanation needed. What is your last meal if you went on death row? Well, it would be nothing because the justice system has stopped last meals from my understanding. Sorry. Are hippos the greatest animals to exist? No, that would go to moose. See above. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. What is your favorite side mission? Well, that's a bit of a spoiler for a video later down the line, so I can't exactly give that away at this moment. Sorry. If you could delete one Arkham game forever, which one would you pick? I wouldn't. I honestly can't. They're all just so important to me in one way or another that just getting rid of one of them just wouldn't be good. What is your favorite villain? Joker possibly excluded. Well, as far as they were handled in the Arkham series, I gotta go to Mr. Freeze. I mean, there's a reason he got the first One Amazing Scene on this channel. They just handle him so well, and he just doesn't have a bad moment. What got you into the Batman series in general? That would be Lego Batman, the game. I first played this game right alongside Lego Star Wars, and I absolutely loved it. And now, years later, I'm still playing these games to this day. What is your favorite character in the Arkham series? It's gotta go to Joker, man. He's just handled so well in every single game. I'm never mad to see him. Why did you pick Arkham above all other games? Honestly, that's just the first thing that the algorithm decided to pick up. I mean, as you might see in some of my earlier videos, I've done things on Mario, on Call of Duty, other games I just really loved. I mean, none of them got picked up except for the Arkham series. So I've just kind of stuck with it since then. And I mean, like I said earlier, I'm trying to branch out to other games at the moment, so yeah, go watch some of those videos, please. Blue or chicken? Rice. Can the bat nipples cut glass? No. They can cut diamonds. Why are you so cool? I am not. Honestly, if any of you meet me in real life, you will come to find I am very much not cool. I sit in my room for about 12 hours every day just watching YouTube. I am not cool like my personality here may suggest. What music do you listen to? Well, a lot of it, honestly, but some of my favorite artists at the moment include Imagine Dragons, AJR, and Tryhard Ninja. I'd recommend listening to all of them, especially the latter two. Who do you simp for in the Arkham games? I don't, because I'm a Chad. How many clowns have you punched IRL? Not nearly enough. Milk or cereal first? Bowl. Do you believe that Gotham Knights will touch upon the Nightfall Protocol further, such as if Alfred, let alone Bruce, are still alive? And will we have a third Deathstroke fight? Well, Gotham Knights is not Arkham. Suicide Squad is in the same timeline as Arkham, but Gotham Knights is not. It is being made by the same company that made Origins, but it is not part of the Arkham saga. It is completely separate from everything that we know in the Arkham series. Have I played any other Batman games? At the moment, only Lego Batman, the video game. I definitely do want to try the Telltale games, as some of the commenters have suggested. I just haven't had the chance yet. Rest in peace, Telltale. Other superhero games. The only one standing out at the moment is Deadpool, and I mean, that game is absolutely fantastic and highly recommend. But like I said, I have not played the Insomniac Spider-Man games because no PlayStation. What is my name? Well, you would know that if you went to my Black Ops 2 Zombies with Friends video. I'm the guy playing in the top left. But yes, my first name is Jared. So there you go. You know that now. Where are you from / are you from England? I don't know what gave you the England idea, but no, I am from the United States of America, specifically the heat death of the world, Arizona. Homie check. Bro, how's life? Is everything alright? I mean, life is life. I mean, I've been obviously maturing these last couple years on YouTube, so I've come to learn that the world is a pretty crappy place. But, I mean, life is otherwise relatively good. I mean, YouTube, as we've seen, has been popping off. I mean, school is still school. But, I mean, there's not too much else to say. I'm just kind of going through the motions, all things considered. Why do you hate Ness so much? From my fellow caster on the League Esports Highest Elite. Because PK, shut the hell up! Anyway, that is going to do it for this little quick Q&A celebration. I hope you all learned something about me, or maybe you didn't and you don't really care. Either way, that is all the questions that I'm going to be doing, hopefully for a while. This took a lot longer to record than I thought. But, yeah, thanks for watching, and again, thank you all so much for the massive support, and I'll see you later, chaps.